Chris Lee and Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14 here to preview SEC basketball games Wednesday night, February the 22nd. We'll go in order of tip-off, and all tip-off times will be central. We don't have lines as we do this Tuesday morning. What we do have are predictive computers. We've got Vanderbilt visiting LSU, which according to our four predictive computers, Ken Pomeroy, Bart Torvik, DPI, and Jeff Sagarin, they average out as Vanderbilt as a 1.1 favorite. 1.1 point favorite. I do not believe that for a second. LSU is 1-13 this year, has been close at times. Vanderbilt has been red hot, although it has won a lot of close games. Blake, this is one, if the line is anywhere close to what the computers have it, I would jump all over Vandy.
You would, huh?
You're going to go contrarian on me, aren't you?
I mean, look, this feels, and this is the computer versus eye test, right? Like, because this is the ultimate game for that. Because again, you look at what Vanderbilt's been doing, and like, why on earth would they only be a 2-point favorite here, or 1-point favorite over a team that's 1-13 and has lost? What's the streak at now? 14.
Has not won this calendar year.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's there's something, again, that's the computer discussion, right? Like, it's one where you can look at that and wonder. But I mean, I think it's kind of like you got to see it before you're gonna believe it type thing with LSU. I think for them to actually win, I can't pick them to win. I'm gonna pick Vanderbilt, but yeah, I would not be surprised if this is close, because I think that it is one of those things now for Vanderbilt. They have all of a sudden been talked about a lot, which this winning streak is reason for that. They've won 5 in a row. The confidence is there, but it's like for LSU, as we said, like, I mean, they don't got many opportunities left, and we kind of use the thing, right? It was like Alabama and the opposite. They gotta win one somewhere, don't they? And can this be the one they do it in? I just don't. I think LSU is just not. What's the kind of wording we've used for LSU? Like, they don't really have a clear, identifiable strength that they can just go out and take advantage of this or that. And I think that's why it's like, I don't know what you would even, like, what's their path to victory? I think it's like LSU, to me, just has to. They're not a great offensive team. They've not really proven to. I think it really is just like they just have to get hot shooting the ball, and they just haven't done that a lot. So, yeah, I mean, look, I'm picking Vanderbilt, but as I've said with some of these other games, kind of like the Mississippi State at Ole Miss type game, I don't think anyone should be shocked if this is a game that's close. But at the same time, if you just take recent results, LSU has not been that far off in these games, and I think we've brought that up really for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe it's 7 or 8 games. They've all been like 12 points or less, which I know is not, 12 points is still 12 points, but they've had their shot in some of these games to at least make a couple plays here that gets it down to a 3 possession game, 2 possession game, something like that. So all I'm saying is I wouldn't be shocked if it is close, because to me this feels like here it is. Here's the game Vanderbilt can't lose, right? Every other game on the schedule, I think Vanderbilt can lose, and as long as they win the rest, they can still have a shot. They lose this one, that becomes a very big climb to get back and even into the conversation. So add all that together, and I think that's why you could see the thing play out where it's close. But I can't pick the team that's on a 14 game losing streak to beat the team that's on a 5 game winning streak. I just can't do it.
Two things here. From the Vanderbilt end, Liam Robbins and Ezra Mannion are playing a lot more minutes, and not coincidentally, Vanderbilt is starting winning more when that has happened. Number two, yeah, who knew? Number two, other than the Alabama game, Vanderbilt has played pretty well on the road. It hasn't always won, but has been pretty competitive. Road environments don't seem to really bother this team a whole lot. So there's that. Now, on the LSU win, we talk about sometimes that the humans are way right about things, and sometimes the computers are able to pinpoint things that the human eyes don't see. And so this is the classic test of that, because the computers, Ken Pomeroy has Vanderbilt a 2-point favorite. Bart Torvik, Vanderbilt 2.2. Jeff Sagarin, Vanderbilt 0.7. And again, this factors in who's at home. BPI actually has LSU as a half-point favorite in this one. So take that for what it's worth. You sum up the probability of victory. Ken Pomeroy has Vanderbilt with a 55% chance of winning. Bart Torvik gives Vandy a 59% chance. And BPI actually gives LSU a 52% chance. So if you believe in computers over the human eyes, and I lean strongly towards what we're seeing with both these teams right now. I really don't blink when I'm taking Vandy in this game. But if you are a person who believes maybe the computers are getting something right that the humans don't, there is that to consider, because the computers are suggesting this is more or less a toss-up.
I'll tell you who's not a fan of the computers right now.
I can tell you that
That'd be
too.
Vanderbilt fans.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I'll take Vanderbilt on this one.
Also at the same time, and this is where the computers really have it wrong for a much different reason. This one also at 6 Central on ESPN. Kentucky visits Florida. Florida's a 1.5-point favorite by the computers with a 55% chance to win. All the computers favor Florida. All the four do, by anywhere from 0.6 points to 2.1. But what the computers have not factored in is all those numbers that Florida has accumulated, which I think were overblown to begin with, happened with Colin Castleton, who was not available for this one. And I don't think this will be close with Jason Jatoba. Florida is not the same team. Kentucky, for the time being, is playing better. I'm not going to say the Cats have turned a corner, because we have gone there before and been burned for that. But here we are.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm picking Kentucky. But I mean, that's what we said, right? It's like the Castleton thing. Last game against Kentucky, he goes for 25 and 8, 5 assists, 3 blocks. Go back to last year, 23 and 11, 18 and 7. So it's like it's that kind of thing, right? Year before, 14 and 5 and 4 assists. So yeah, I mean, like he's played well against Kentucky. You know, he's played well against the Sheboy teams. And so not having him on the floor, it's just a big difference, I think, in this game. And like you said, it's the problem with anyone not named Alabama, and maybe it's even A&M to this point. I think I trust A&M. My trust in A&M is about as high as it's ever been. So you just every time you turn around and you want to trust these teams, you get one of these games that they lose that they shouldn't lose. Is this the one for Kentucky? I don't think so, but I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's not in the back of my mind that they could lose this game, because it's like what? It's like the bet the bet the bad part of the equation, which is Castleton not playing. So it's like, well, lean on Florida because everybody's going to go so far in the opposite direction, right? Well, I just don't think that first game, like we said, if you go back at the game they played a couple weeks ago, Castleton was such a huge part of that. They didn't shoot the ball well. He took almost half the free throws they shot. And yeah, I mean, blocking shots, we always say just his defensive presence, how that can impact the game. And of course, Sheboy only had 4 points. He had 15 rebounds fouled out in that game the last time around. But it's so different without Castleton, especially a game like this with Sheboy, again, on the floor. Livingston's coming on. I keep talking about him. Wallace is taking care of the ball. It's hard for me to pick against Kentucky in this spot, just given Florida does not have Colin Castleton.
What do you think the humans? That sounded funny.
This is like think about this conversation.
We're run by aliens, and the humans.
Think about this conversation.
Decisions.
We are so far into the computers that we are now like the human element is secondary. So Oh,
Yeah, well,
all right.
A,
Continue
it's
your
that time
question.
of the year. Well, B, and in all seriousness, for people that don't understand why we're using, I mean, I do think computers have value, but we don't have lines. We're doing this Tuesday morning. Lines won't come out to Wednesday. Where do you think the line is set on this? I've got an idea. I have not asked you ahead of time, as so your answer will not bias mine or vice versa. I just want to hear where you think the line will
Well,
be when it comes
well,
out.
the lines usually follow very closely
Usually,
to the computers. They don't all the time, but like how many basketball lines have you seen this year that are a point 0.5 away from a Ken Palm projection? Like they
almost
play
all of
such
them.
a exactly, they play such a huge role. So like the most I'm willing to go on this is probably Kentucky by 2. Like because
Wow.
I really and I'm not look, that's not what I would set it at. I'm just telling you what I think that like if that's what these are people are going by, if they're using this, I truly think you're going to see some of that. Like you know, and I'm not saying that's right. And I don't even know that it's going to be that way, but we're going off of what we've seen. And what I usually see is you can pretty much take the Ken Palm number and maybe add one or two here or there, and that's usually what the line's set at. So I mean, I'm not saying again, I don't agree with that. I think Kentucky can win this game by double digits. Um, but I also think that Kentucky's coming off a huge home win against Tennessee. Now has to go on the road against a Florida team that has nothing to lose anymore. The only thing Florida has to play for is to basically, you know, try to send Kentucky back onto the bubble. And and like you said, you just pointed out, the computers factor into these betting odds. Not everything with it, but I look Kentucky by I'll say 2 to 4 is my projection. I don't know if it's going to be right, but I'll say Kentucky favored by 2 to 4 points.
Okay. I was thinking 7 to 8 because,
Maybe it is. And I
well,
just don't
because
trust that they're going to go that far in the opposite direction. Um,
well, a betting line, and I'm not an expert, but a betting line is set to even the money, and I
yes.
think you'll have a lot of Kentucky. Like if that line is Kentucky -2, what do you think is going to happen
No, you're right.
between perception and Kentucky fans? That's why I think it's going to be higher. But to your point, let's remember last week, okay? The computers have Tennessee as about a 3-point favorite against Alabama. We're going, I don't know if that seems right. And then what happened? Josiah Jordan
Mhm.
James is out. And who else? Julian Phillips was out. And we're like,
Yep.
surely the line
It's
moves.
a setup. It's
The
a
the
setup.
line did not move, and who won the game when that seemed crazy.
Hang on, I got something for you, Chris. Hold on. Keep talking for a second. I'm going to pull something up for you.
Okay. Anyway, there's your lesson in how lines work, and I'm horrible about filling time on demand.
Well, hold on. We're almost there.
Well, while you're doing that, the next two games we will preview are Alabama and South Carolina and Ole Miss and Auburn as I fill
yeah.
time.
All right, hold on. There you go. All right, dude, you're supposed to play like the Jeopardy music or something. So,
You don't want to hear me sing.
there you go. Just don't fall for it. Don't fall for it, man. It's just don't fall for it. All right. I'm telling you, don't fall for it.
I feel like we
So,
have worked space aliens into this a lot lately.
well, boy, that's another podcast. Yeah, I'll take Kentucky. I have no
That
idea where the
is.
betting line is going to be set at because I'm not good with that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I just think that's who knows? Because like I said, I'm so used to the Ken Palm stuff. Like you can pretty much bank on it, Ken Palm wise. Because let's remember too, like Frederick Wheeler, like what's the deal with them? I don't think Wheeler's playing, but maybe I'm wrong. Frederick, I assume. I don't know. We again, we're recording this and we don't really know that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll see.
If you're still listening at this point, hey, thank you. That's two of our worst minutes of podcasting ever, and B, drop space aliens in the comments. Okay. Alabama visits South Carolina, ESPN2. Computers have Alabama as about a 21.3-point favorite and give South Carolina a 3% chance of winning this game. We have said over and over, South Carolina has played much better on the road than at home. But you know what? Carolina's also just played better in general lately, Blake.
They have, but they haven't played Alabama yet. That's the problem here. Is South Carolina does not play well at home, for the most part. That Arkansas game was kind of the outlier. So, you talk about setting a number here. Ooh, set a number because I think this one. I just look, unless South Carolina. Here's what South Carolina has to do, right? Because the games that they've excelled in, they've done a couple things in particular. They've hit a lot of threes, and I just think that's the only way here. I don't know what else you want me to say. Alabama wins this by 20 plus. My guess. Maybe that's low. So again, we're just going off what we've seen. And South Carolina, as you said, has not played well at home, and Alabama is a different beast. Now, Alabama's not played great on the road. Let's point that out too. But I think this one just feels a little different from a matchup standpoint. I don't really feel like South Carolina can match Alabama possession for possession here. So I will take the Tide in this one, Chris.
Yeah, I think everybody will. I mean, that's Alabama at times has tended to come out a little unfocused. I mean, it still hasn't really mattered for the most part, but Alabama's not going to lose. I guess the question is 21 points. How does that look? I mean, I think I'd still lean Alabama based on history.
Yeah.
Okay. Ole Miss and Auburn on the SEC network, also at 8 Central. Computers have Auburn as a 14.4% favorite with a 90% chance of winning. Ole Miss is kind of in that LSU category of it played hard. The results aren't there. Not much to play for. This is a must win for Auburn, but boy, 14.5 seems like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's what do you get from Auburn here, right? Because we saw them come out really focused against Missouri. They beat Missouri by 33. And now it's kind of it's not the same setup, but it's very similar. I mean, Auburn, this is must win for Auburn. We talk about must win games. Like, this is must win. Like, there's no other way to put it. Auburn loses this game, they're on the last four in line. In my opinion, they're close to there. Would you disagree with that? Like, I mean, they're probably a 10 seed right now. You lose this game, like, you're dropping.
Maybe. I mean, the body of work needs to get better between now and Selection Sunday.
Yeah, but like, you lose to Ole Miss, who is
no, that might
that's my
Auburn.
point.
Yeah,
they're in last four in
agree.
territory.
I mean,
at that point,
I'll tell you my hesitation. I'm seeing some of these teams that are listed as bubble teams, or like North Carolina has not beaten a quad one team yet. And I think it's the first team out in Lunardi this morning. So
yeah.
I would have to really look at the bubble before I buy in either way. But
yes, but they also, we're not comparing the two teams, but like, this would be losing to a team that is so far from the field that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Auburn would not still be ahead of these other teams, but I can't imagine that they're just going to stay where they are with a loss to Ole Miss, who is 10 and 17. So that's my bigger point.
Especially
because this team
loss.
Yeah, the whole argument is they need more quality wins. Well, now that if they add a bad loss to the equation, that's not good. So I think they're teetering on out territory if they lose this game, because they're already, in a lot of people's minds, pushing downward as a 10 seed. So there's nowhere to go but to 11 or 12, which, at 12, you're in a play, or they're going to be in 11, which is play-in game, play-in territory. So I don't think they're going to lose this one, but I'm talking about the importance here. We talked about Vanderbilt needing to, importance of that one game at LSU. This game feels very similar for Auburn in that they have to win this one, I think. Now, if you lose this one, and we're saying all this just to kind of give you more of a discussion here, because I feel like Auburn is the pick, but Auburn still needs to win more games, right? Like, they still need quality wins. So like we said, at Kentucky, at Alabama, home against Tennessee, but I'm just talking about the importance of this one. And we saw them bounce back in sort of must-win territory against Missouri. I don't know if it's going to be to that degree here. I don't know if it's going to be 33, but you would fully expect Auburn to find a way to take care of business here. First game they played way back on January 10th. Auburn won by 9 in Oxford. They got a. It was one of those games where you kind of looked at it and we said it was just, kind of one of those games where you just kind of saw Auburn's guys take over, and that's what you want to see in these kind of games, especially when you get into these quality win opportunities in the next 3 they're going to have. You want to see your main guys step up, and they had that in that last game. Green had 23, Broome had 19, Flanagan had 15, and Jalen Williams had 12. So, yeah, I mean that's what you want to see from Auburn. I think they bounce back here after a tough loss to Vanderbilt, and then it will set up quite a finish for the Tigers.
I said 14.5 was a lot for Auburn. It temporarily escaped my mind that game's in Neville Arena. It's not a lot in Neville Arena for Auburn, given the way Ole Miss has played. So there's that.
I think
maybe
Auburn takes care
retract
of
that
business.
one. Yeah, I do too.
Well, I think defensively they will be able to do some things that cause issues for Ole Miss. So
not the best Wednesday slate we've had. Best game here, man. I don't know.
Chris, hold on.
LSU.
Last time you said that, chaos.
Oh, I know. You're right. That's correct.
Don't say that. If you say that, you know it's going to happen. Like there are going to be upsets somewhere. This is just how it works. So these feel, I'll say this, I'm about to go back to it, but like just when you think, all right, hold on, Chris, I got something for you. So just when you think like, these are the kind of slates that you look at and you're like, well, they almost feel way too predictable, right? It feels a little too predictable of how these games are going to unfold, don't they? So just remember when you're in that territory and you think that, just remember, Chris, don't forget. All right. Don't forget. Don't forget. All right. That's just, you got to remember that. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So there you go.
Seriously, we did have one night in the midweek that was, I think it was midweek, that was like this. And I'm trying to remember what games those were. It feels like it's been a month or so. I mean, I just trashed the night, said it's a terrible night of basketball, and you are correct. Like you had a couple that just out of the blue.
Yeah, don't say that, because it's just, trust me, this is how it works in this league. There's going to be chaos. This one does. It feels way too calm of a slate to where you just feel like, yeah, everything looks pretty self-explanatory. But then, again, it's kind of what you expect in this league, right? That's how it works. I'm trying to find which one. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but I can't find it. It was I think it was a little while ago. Like it was probably at least a month ago. So anyways, that's beside the point.
Was it, no. Was it before or after the Big 12 Challenge?
I don't know. We're wasting time here. I don't remember. It was, okay, so here's what it was, right? Well, it was the South Carolina Kentucky night. I mean, like,
oh yeah,
that's the one. That's what it was. So let's not. Yeah, it was that one. It was mainly just that result.
And let's see what else. What else happened that night? I'm gonna go find this.
Not much.
This is a wonderful podcast.
All right, folks, hit subscribe. All right, Chris.
Okay,
let's move on.
Let's see. The other games that night were LSU, Florida, Ole Miss, Auburn.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot outside of that. Yeah,
I guess not. All right, we've wasted enough of your time. Thanks for watching. Baseball Power Rankings coming up soon, so hit the subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss that. He's Blake Lovell and Chris Lee. We're Southeastern 14. We'll see you soon.